Did someone mute all of us?
I don't have any video. Can you hear me?
We can hear you and see you, Rabbi.
Really? Why can't I see myself? Well, I suppose that's a good thing that I can't see myself. Let's begin, and I hope that when the rest of this program continues, that we'll all have a memorable and exciting and positive experience, as opposed to my very anxious one at the moment where, oh my goodness, where am I? Welcome, and we're glad you did find this place, and we hope that when we're done, we truly believe you'll be pleased that you did. I'm Rabbi Michael Zedek. I'm Rabbi Emeritus of Emanuel Congregation, and I'm part of the advisory board for Schaalman Senior Voices, which is an extraordinary program striving to strengthen the well-being of all adults, but most especially the older adult and larger communities, through engagement in conversations about meaning and aging, and developing inspiring films, educational opportunities, and lots of other programs. Schaalman Senior Voices honors the legacy of the late Rabbi Herman Schaalman, a remarkable interfaith leader both in Chicago and throughout the world. He knew no boundaries, and he knew no challenges that weren't worth addressing, even if we couldn't be sure that we were doing anything other than building connections of spirit. We're hoping today will be part of that spirit, a meaningful conversation about the uniqueness of the aging experience and how to make it ever more valued and meaningful for those of us who have the opportunity, as all of us, if we're alive, will experience aging, and that we might share it with others. It's my delight to introduce Mark Fenton, who was the founding president of PCG Public Partnerships, which serves as a consultancy group for public health and human service agencies across the country. And if I'm not incorrect, I think Mark also around the world. He is a member of the Advisory Council, a great supporter of Schaalman Senior Voices, and he was a very long time friend of Rabbi Herman and Lotta Schaalman. Mark?
Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi Zedek. I would like to just explain why my wife, Gail Fenton, and I decided to make a gift to establish Schaalman Senior Voices at the Center for Excellence in Aging at Rush Memorial Hospital. As Rabbi Zedek said, I've known Rabbi Schaalman most of my life, more than 60 years. I first met him when he became the rabbi at Emanuel, where I was a member when I was 10 years old. Over the course of our relationship, I knew him as my rabbi, my teacher, my supervisor, and my friend. I worked for him supporting the youth group at Emanuel when I was in college, and I helped him when he was president of the Central Conference of American Rabbis. He was the senior leader and Jewish leader in Chicago for many decades, often speaking out on issues of injustice and multiple religious topics. He founded the Union of American Hebrew Congregations camp, of course, at Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, and helped develop similar Jewish summer camps across the country. For many years, until he was 96, he taught at Northwestern University Theological Seminary. He also taught at many Jewish seminaries while serving as the rabbi of one of the largest Jewish congregations in the city. Rabbi Schaalman was so many things to so many people because he served on so many boards and worked with so many organizations. He saw himself as someone who continually crossed boundaries to learn and to understand how different religions work, how different religions viewed Judaism, and how different religions viewed the fundamental questions about life and belief. He was a constant learner. He was also a consummate teacher who never failed to begin a new class or cover a new subject if students were willing to engage. I am one of thousands of students who benefited from his teaching. He frequently served on larger stages. I remember the night he introduced me to his good friend, Nobel Prize winner Elie Wiesel, who told stories to my youth group at Emanuel. I saw him stand up to President Ronald Reagan on national television with Elie Wiesel at his side and tell the president not to go, after he had been invited, not to go to a grave site in Germany where SS had been buried. He became very good friends with Cardinal Bernardin. Together, they went to Israel. They taught classes together. And at the cardinal's funeral, Rabbi Schaalman was invited to give a eulogy for the cardinal. This is the first time a rabbi was ever invited to play that role in the Catholic Church. He won many awards in his life, far too numerous to mention here. He was awarded several honorary doctorate degrees from Jewish, Catholic, and Protestant universities. He was awarded the Lincoln Medal, which is the highest recognition anyone can receive from the state of Illinois. And when he was 91, he was invited to throw out the first pitch for the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. Rabbi Schaalman's influences were boundless. This is why my wife and I named the University of Chicago College program in Jerusalem after him and Lada, his wife of 76 years. And this is why we sought an institution to house his recent videos and teachings that he prepared on the process of aging, some of which you will see tonight. And as he said it, aging, and we can't avoid it, so we have to learn how to like it. The Schaalman Senior Voices program has become a central part of the Center for Excellence of Aging at Rush. It encourages older people to discuss their aging, to explain what matters to their friends, their families, and healthcare professionals. And most important, it creates a platform for Rabbi Schaalman's presence and teaching to have an influence on future generations.
Mark, thank you so much for those wonderful words about Rabbi Schaalman, and it has been such a pleasure to have the opportunity to get to know him through your eyes and through your stories. I am Dr. Erin Emery Taversio. I co-direct the Rush Center for Excellence in Aging and have been an incredibly grateful recipient of Mark and Gail Fenton's gift to begin Schaalman Senior Voices. And I'd like to share with you, if I can work on sharing my screen, a little bit about how Schaalman Senior Voices fits in so well with the priorities at Rush University Medical Center, and how together Schaalman Senior Voices and Rush University Medical Center are creating new opportunities for older adults to talk about what matters. So at Rush, we are the first age-friendly health system in Illinois, and we are very proud to be the first in Illinois. Very exciting to have this opportunity. And what that means is that we are attending to the 4 M's. So what matters, and this is the big one. This is the one where Schaalman Senior Voices really fits in. What matters to an older adult, and assuring that any treatment that we provide is consistent with what matters. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that one. Also, medications. So as we look at the medications that an older adult is taking, we want to make sure that we are decreasing the total number as much as possible, as is safe, and making sure that there are as few high-risk medications for older adults as possible. And it turns out that there are some medications that as we age actually become higher risk. Doesn't necessarily mean that we absolutely shouldn't take them, but we need to take a really close look at that along with doctors. Also, mind. So in the 4 M's of an age-friendly health system, mind includes depression, delirium, and dementia. So dementia, of course, many of you are aware, is sort of a progressive decline in cognitive function, in things like memory and problem solving and language. And delirium is a sudden onset of cognitive changes, and usually is caused by something like a medication reaction or an infection. Sometimes it can happen in the hospital, sometimes it can happen at home. And so we need to pay attention to those. And of course, depression. which is not just having a bad day, but really paying attention to mood. And older adults are certainly at risk for depression, have lower rates of depression than younger adults, generally speaking. But when there are higher rates of social isolation, so when we're all experiencing a pandemic and we're locked in our houses at higher rates of depression, and so need to engage in some other kinds of activities. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And the fourth M is mobility. So assuring that people are staying moving. And for many of us, mobility is a really big one. It's what keeps us independent. It's what keeps us functioning. It's what keeps us doing all the things that we need to do. So the 4 M's of an age-friendly health system is where Schaalman Senior Voices fits in. It turns out that in an age-friendly health system, for health systems that are employing the 4 M's, patients are more satisfied, because think about it, if any of us goes to a hospital where somebody's saying, hey, what's really important to you? We're going to make sure that we're taking care of that, and making sure that we're taking care of medications and mind and mobility and taking care of you as a whole person, that we're going to have better outcomes, right? We're going to have better satisfaction, patient satisfaction. We're going to have better activities of daily living. So being able to get to the grocery store more often, being able to take a shower independently, being able to do all the things in a day-to-day basis that we want to do, having better quality of life, and actually increased hospice use. It turns out that when we talk to people about what they really want, what most people really want is alleviation of suffering. And it turns out that closer to the end of life, that hospice is the best place for that. So when we actually talk to people about what matters, that's one of the outcomes. We also have fewer people in the hospital. If we're taking care of all 4 M's on the outpatient side, taking care of it in the community, talking to people in the community about what matters, and trying to get people to manage all 4 M's, people are more likely to stay out of the hospital, have fewer harmful events, and fall less. Again, that mobility piece. So the 4 M's of an age-friendly health system is really important to be able to provide the very best care that we can for older adults. So the biggest M, what matters? We ask this question, and we ask it in a lot of different ways to older adults. We ask, what's important to you in your life? Because it turns out that what's important to you in your life is what matters to you in your health care. So if it's important to be able to get on the floor and play with your grandkids, if it's important to you to be able to concentrate and read a book, if it's important to you to be able to get out and take a walk on a beautiful sunny day, well, then there are some healthcare implications for that. So when we ask about what's important to your health, it may be mobility. I want to be able to walk. For me personally, right now, I'm working on getting my mileage up so that I can do a half marathon in October with my brother. I promised him that I would do it. And so for me, being able to stay healthy enough to walk that many miles, I got a little ways to go yet. So I've got some work to do. But for me and my own health, I need to be able to be healthy enough to do that. So if anything gets in the way, I need my doctor to be on board. I need my whole healthcare team. And that might not be just a physician. It might be a physical therapist. It might be an occupational therapist. It might be a nutritionist. That it's important that we kind of take a look at what's important about your life, what's important then about your health so that you can live your life. And then what's important in health care. So we have been going around in the community and asking people what's important to you in your health and what's important to you in your health care. And as we've been doing that, we've been hearing a lot of voices about things like, I want to be a partner with my doctor. I want to have my healthcare team listen to me. And that's all of what matters is about. That's what Schaalman Senior Voices is all about. And so when we go out and ask and we do these films, this is where Schaalman Senior Voices comes in. So I'm going to switch my screen so that you can see where Schaalman Senior Voices lives at the Center for Excellence in Aging, aging.rush.org. rush.edu/Schaalman. And you'll see this lovely picture of Rabbi Schaalman. And I want to point out here where Schaalman Senior Voices lives in the community. And we have gone out into the community and played, I'm hoping that this will play. We'll see how we do here. We have played a variety, or we have recorded a variety of voices. And so when you go to the aging.rush.edu/Schaalman, you can take a look at the whole variety of different kinds of videos. And you see here that we have a whole variety of different kinds of people in a whole variety of different kinds of places talking about what matters. And as we ask these questions, what matters to you in your life? What matters to you in your health? What matters to you in your health care? We're listening to the answers. And as we listen to the answers, we are responsive to those answers. So one of the things that we have been hearing about lately in the context of COVID is people feeling isolated, people feeling alone. And so one of the next steps of Schaalman Senior Voices is to create a peer-to-peer connection program. So we will be looking for older adults who are interested in talking to other older adults and building a social network. And we'll talk about whether that's going to be phone or video or some combination of that, that we're going to be co-designing this program with older adults in response to listening to what older adults have said what matters. And so wanting to listen to how older adults want that program and to be able to bring our expertise together with that, with the expertise of older adults to be able to create a program that is responsive. And part of the reason for that is that what we're learning about social isolation, particularly in this time of COVID, is that when people are socially isolated, and when they subsequently become lonely, that folks can begin to get depressed, folks can begin to have immune problems, folks can begin to have physical health problems, all as a result of social isolation. And there's been some research to suggest that social isolation can have the physical effects of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's pretty profound. So we want to do something with that by listening. So the legacy of Rabbi Schaalman, as supported by Mark and Gail Fenton, is to be able to listen to what matters to the community and to have conversations about aging and to have conversations about, you know, we're all aging. How can we like it? And I think Rabbi Schaalman would be so interested in the conversations that are starting in Schaalman Senior Voices about exactly that, about aging and how can you like it. So we are so honored to have Schaalman Senior Voices be a part of the age-friendly health system as we listen to what matters. And you'll hear a little bit later from Jasmine about how you can make your own video right on our website to be able to share what matters to you. And one of the other really important things that we're doing with those videos is we are showing them to healthcare students so that healthcare students can learn how to listen to what matters to older adults, to all of their patients. And as we get better at listening, we get better at responding. So we're very excited to be able to take that opportunity and to give every one of you an opportunity to record your own video that not only will be shared with the Rush community and with students across the country, but also for you to share with your family and to start a conversation in your family about what matters to you in your life, in your health, in your health care, and what matters to you about aging. So we very much look forward to hearing from you in that. And in that regard, I'm going to hand back over to Rabbi Zedek to take us into our next step. Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you very much, Aaron. And I do want to emphasize the compilation of voices is an extraordinary instrument, not only because it has profound impact on healthcare professionals, but also because it has an equally profound impact on the participants. It's a wonderful resource. Now, there are other resources, and we're going to turn to one of them. A few months ago, it was cold. Dr. John Buchanan, the pastor emeritus, senior pastor emeritus of Fourth Presbyterian Church, and Dr. Martin Marty, one of the most remarkable scholars in the world, and certainly the preeminent expert in the United States on religion. And he himself, in his 90s, we met at the Buchanan Chapel over at Fourth Presbyterian, and we had some discussion about the challenges of aging and the resources we turn to for dealing with that inevitability and how we might enjoy it. And we're going to play a small clip of that, and then there'll be an opportunity for some discussion among some of the senior advisors to Schaalman, Senior Voices, and then an opportunity for all of us to join in. So without further ado, let's have the video. Oh, I look good.
We are in the hands of a process we cannot control. I'm sure we have a piece of us that agrees with that, but I'm curious as to what are some of the ways in which out of control, yet we focus and somehow make meaning happen with the circumstances of aging.
Well, I'm interested in that, the notion of the limits of aging. Obviously, there are limits, and you encounter them every single day, whether it's loss of hearing or loss of stamina. I think there's something basically good about not giving into that. I think full life means at least continuing to do your exercises and keep your reading and keep yourself alive, as long as you don't become neurotic about it. There is a youth cult here in the country that worships youth, and people spend enormous amounts of money getting their skin stretched out or whatever. I think that's not such a great idea. But I think it's imperative that you not only confront and be honest about the limits that come naturally with aging, but that you keep pushing yourself to live fully, to be as strong and alert intellectually as you can be.
Marty?
You have to learn limits. And there are 3 limits that nobody ever can get beyond. Finitude, you're going to die. Contingency, things happen, accidents, good things, bad things. And transience, nothing will last. The pyramids will go along with everything else. And what you do with that knowledge is important. If you let it overwhelm you, you're overwhelmed. If you recognize it and realize that you're living within limits, then you ask, how do I transcend them? How do I make them of use or whatever? So, finitude, how am I going to spend the best years? Maybe I get 5 years, maybe I get 50, maybe I get 110.
You certainly have today.
Yeah, that's it. And why then should I fuss about the past because I can't do anything about it, or the future because I don't know anything about it? And then contingency, think of all the plotting we do and it doesn't turn out that way. And transience, it all goes. I'm a historian and I look at old tombstones. I look at all the achievements of people everybody thought would be there forever. And a few years later, ask people in their 60s to remember people from their 20s, rock stars, and so on. It goes. But yes, we have the moment, we have the day, we have the second, and almost everybody that we know that we admire recognizes that and does something with it. And I think they could be great motivators. If I don't have forever, I better learn what I'm going to do with it. If bad things will happen, I better know how to transform them. If they're good, I better learn how to celebrate them.
So in terms of the 2 remarkable individuals I'm seated with, one would easily describe the 2 of you as enthusiastic embracers of life. And I use that word with great intention because enthusiasm, as you know, the Greek is enthusiasmos, to be full of God. The Hebrew word, which you may not be aware of, is hitlavut. It means to be on fire. And I'm wondering, what are some of the things that keep that fire, that continue to enthuse you with the present moment's preciousness? What embraces that for you? What concretizes that for you?
Well, Michael, I'm interested. And how aging increases your gratitude and for life itself. And that each day, the older you get, each day becomes a gift. You don't think like that when you're 20 or 30, but each day is a gift. And I'm reminded of something that Abraham Maslow said one time. He had a terrible heart attack, near-death experience, and he was recovering in his home, and he wrote a letter to a friend, and he said, my river never looked so beautiful before. Every moment of life is precious. And he went on to speculate, if we knew we'd never die, could we ever love passionately? And so the sense of aging, I think, increases your capacity for wonder and awe and gratitude.
Of all the things that I'm most grateful for, it's the connections that inspire me. Boy, is that a good word, to take in the spirit, you know, and somehow make it possible for me to know that the journey is not one I make alone. Indeed, when you talked about, I've certainly known people in hospital who aren't getting good news, and yet somehow they feel like they can still make a difference in the other, the one who comes into the room, the one who may be in the next bed with them in that room. It's about meaning.
I think on any level you have connection, I would say company. We're now on a stage where dear old friends are leaving us. I was in a class of 17 pre-theology people who went to seminary, and I learned last week I'm the last survivor. Now, I can't tell you how often I lost a brother this summer. How often something comes to my mind and says, I got to tell Mike. I see what he thinks of it. Well, he's living in that. He's my company because we nurtured that company along the way. And I think that sustaining anything alone without good memory, and I love the concept of hope. Who's the next person going to come through that door? What's the next good message? What am I going to hear the last 3 minutes of that television program where they're signing off for the day? All these things give us something in which you rejoin a larger family. I know it's fashionable to talk about how impersonal television is, and yet for a lot of people, shows that I would consider trivial, they become company, and they cherish them. So we, in religion, I think we have to really work on that, because even in the monastic era, when people would go off by themselves for a while, they did that to seek a larger company. They never felt alone. The company of angels and archangels and seraphim and all that. You're living with people from the past. Just because somebody has died, I don't stop being influenced by them.
My dad died when I was 18, and it's the experience that shaped the adult I hope someday to be. He knew he was going to die. It was cancer, and as some have heard me suggest, rather than drawing the obvious lesson that life can't be trusted, which maybe is one of the things we're talking about today, he set out for me to learn what I consider the most important lessons I know as an adult. There are 4 elements. Element number 1 is life is a very precious and very fragile gift. That's so obvious it doesn't even need elaboration. Number 2, were I to die today, I want more. I'm so crazy in love with the gift of life, I'm intoxicated. And St. Vincent Millay, oh life, I cannot hold you close enough. Lesson number 3, and I mean this, were I to die today, I want more, but if this is all I get, thank you. Lesson number 4, I'd rather have my father than have learned any of it. I can't have that, but the echo is, but I can still have what he is in me. And I actually think that in some ways, that seminal experience of having to come to terms with, to live means we outlive, to love means we lose, but that's not the end of the story, somehow shapes the person I am.
I live by very few things very deeply, and for me, everything about time is chopped into days. I may have seconds, I may have minutes, I may have hours, but again, very biblical. You're not to take thought for tomorrow, and you're not to live in the guilt of yesterday. And therefore, if you just chop it up with the biblical picture of what could happen today, the sun rise, and if it doesn't rise, storm can come. God is with you, and you have your tasks and your pleasures, and somebody else is coming down, furrowing another plow, or working at another machine, or enjoying an evening out at the movies, whatever it is, anything you can do to help them sustain. That's why I like the word company, and you use the word connecting. Loneliness is the great enemy. And busy people can be very lonely too.
Anything you would add, John?
Well, one of the delights I find of post-work, retirement, aging, is the opportunity to savor. And I've just become aware, acutely aware, that I didn't savor much when I was working because I was too busy. And I think of that every day. We drive over to Michigan and go through the wooded area and some fields, and I think, I never really looked at this before. I needed to get where I was going, but what a marvelous shade of green that is, and how many different shades of green. I think of that every morning when the sun comes up. I never watched the sun come up before because I had to go to a meeting or something. But anyhow, the opportunity to savor is a real gift. And if I was dispensing advice, I would say, slow down and savor.
We've been asked to do some reflection about the whole Schaalman Senior Voices initiative, and I want to start with just a reflection on Rabbi Herman Schaalman, who was known to the three of us and is still a very important part of the inspiration in my life. In fact, I use his office and in fact am the successor teacher for a class that he taught for 60 years that's every Saturday morning, at least every Saturday morning when I'm in town, I'm able to be part of. But among the many things that are so exquisite about my memories of him and fit so perfectly this initiative is his desire to always look at what's next. What are the challenges we're facing, not how good things used to be. There was no room for nostalgia. He was always trying to push the boundaries. And among the things that I see in this project is the boundary of, as opposed to the experts telling people what to do, the people being heard, having their voices lifted up and in some fashion being recognized as an expertise that must be acknowledged. Some thoughts on Herman and this project?
I think one thing that he helped people do, again, on public television, with congregations, wherever he was, he helped people sort things out. world comes flying at you just from all directions. What sense are you going to make of it? And he'd sort of, he would take a text or some old saying and expound it, always working on the assumption that the listener, anything in any medium that the Schaalman Center would use, could be quickened to something they hadn't thought about sooner, and then kind of to rank them. You're not going to bother them with everything. Hunters find the hunting magazine, and fishermen find the fishing magazine, and glamourers find the glamour magazine. But who really takes care of helping find, I'll use the word, significances? And I think that this center is an instrument. It doesn't say we have all the answers. It says we'll help you find the ways in which you can help find answers and give answers.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I was an admirer from afar, mostly, of Rabbi Schaalman. I knew he had this magnificent reputation as a public speaker, a preacher, orator. It was at a celebration, I think, for Chicago Theological Seminary at the Harris Theater that several speakers were there, very distinguished, and he batted cleanup. And I've just never, ever witnessed anything quite like that. He didn't have a note, stood ramrod straight. And
Which, by the way, for those who didn't know him, wasn't that tall,
Right.
but was nonetheless a giant.
and just spoke with more elegance and eloquence and passion and erudition. It was just a tour de force. I loved lots of things about him. I loved his interfaith initiatives. That's something that we've all got to be paying more attention to. We've known that for some time. Rabbi Schaalman was out on the cutting edge. He had friendship with Cardinal Bernardine, and he took trips to the Holy Land together, and he opened the way for many, many people to see that we simply have to learn to be in dialogue and respectful conversation with one another. What a great gift.
Yeah, interesting combination, really. I'm not sure I've ever thought about that before, John, but he was a bridge builder par excellence, but he was also a cutting-edge thinker without any question of where it might take us. And I suspect that that's an unusual combination, because the cutting-edge thinker is the scholar in the ivory tower, but it was all one gestalt for him.
The word I would use for it is he knew the basics and helped you find the basics. I like that whole concept of that term. If you have a place to stand, you can view the world. And he would help you. He didn't always say there's only one way to do it. He would say, we can help you find the way. It's in you, it's around you, it's in the ancient texts, and it's ahead of us yet.
So, I hope, despite what might have been some technical challenges, you were able to draw some value and maybe inspiration, even as I was engaged in some perspiration because of the challenge I had with some lacunae in the text, in the film. But I at least had the advantage of recognizing several of the characters in it, and I hope that you were able to derive something from it. What we're going to do now is have a little discussion with three members of the Schaalman Senior Voices Advisory Council and Rush Generations in terms of their responses, reactions, reflections on both the excerpt that we saw, and by the way, if you go to the website, you'll probably be able to get the an uninterrupted, either the 15-minute excerpt or the full 25 hours. I'm kidding about the 25 hours part of the conversation. So if our members could introduce themselves, Shakila, if you would be so kind as to go first, Michael, and then Edward, if you'll unmute and turn on your video. Shakila, did you unmute? Yeah.
Shalom, salam, peace. It is unbelievable. Before even I get put my introduction, I really love the video. But okay, I am Dr. Shakila Hassan, and I'm a member of the Advisory Council of Schaalman Senior Voices. And it's a blessing like God sent. And it is an unbelievable opportunity for me not to be a reverend, a rabbi, or an imam. And it took me 80 years plus to be able to participate, and I'm grateful. And energy came from Rabbi Schaalman, and I salute.
Thank you. Michael, your last name sounds terribly familiar. Is there a connection perchance?
Yes, there certainly is. I'm also a member of the Advisory Council of Schaalman Senior Voices, and blessed to be the son of Lada and Herman Schaalman, and similarly blessed to have had my parents for a very long time. Most of you know that my mom was 102 and my dad was 100 and coming on 101. So I was a very fortunate person to have experienced my parents for such a long time and in such meaningful ways. And I'm just delighted to be part of the council and to share some thoughts with everyone today.
Edward, that means you're next.
Hi, my name is Edward Martin. I'm glad to share this with y'all. To listen, because every time I listen to something, I learn more and more every day. And from listening to y'all today, I learned a lot. That's from that class who you're talking about, that video.
Thank you. So for the three of you, anything in particular that I need to hold on to that, I need to integrate that, or I need to wrestle against that? Anything that came up in the video along those lines?
One thing that I don't know, was it in the video? One thing y'all was talking about was saying, I think it was who was this was talking about not the video, but we're talking about old timers, and because it made me start thinking about my wife who had old timers. Of course, she passed away. But it was another name, I forgot that name was, but constriction that messes up organs in your body. And I was just wondering about, was the people, the ones that said that she had old time, was they right about that? You know, because I noticed her body started getting weaker and she couldn't walk, she couldn't do this. So it's making me think about a lot of things, you know, and another thing, doctors, sometimes you gotta set what you gotta say to a doctor, but let them know how you feel and what you feel. You know, because if you don't, the doctor tell you how you feel.
Very good. By the way, if you're listening in, please consider using the chat feature if something that you want us to discuss further, and there'll be opportunity when we're done with this piece of our program offering today for direct comment and commentary as well. So don't forget the chat feature. If you don't know how to use the chat feature, on my computer, it's down at the bottom, and if you put the cursor there, you'll see chat, and it'll open up and you can type a commentary. Leah, I believe, is monitoring that to be able to share it with us. And I have to admit, on some computers, it's under the screen, as in mine, but on others, it's on the right side of the computer when you open it up. At any rate, Shakila or Michael, some reflection on the video itself that stands out that you want to highlight?
Yes, I would like to say that the first thing that came to my mind is gratitude. And gratitude, as I age, has become more relevant, more prominent, and more persevered. And it looks like prayer is not complete without gratitude. So it's a blessing. And I think aging is a process that we all must feel comfortable to know that the comfort comes in gratitude. And I also heard the words of community, company, and connections. And to me, humanity at large is a product of community around humanity, and how Rabbi Schaalman visualized it, and with the human connections. I am an example for myself, and with him, if I can elevate myself in the situation to say that I felt great being a Muslim in his class when he's teaching the class on history of Judaism. And he constantly referring to me, not that we solved all the problems or understood everything. I mean, I'm talking about myself, but I felt so part of it. Like, so that learning from one another is experiential learning that I think no age is exempt from that process.
Okay.
So I think we can make more time being old to connect together.
Michael, something that you would want to highlight?
Yeah, to me, this blends in from what Aaron was saying, along with the video and the commentators there, is this whole notion that we are now speaking about aging. How remarkable that is in itself. It really has been a subject, both as individuals, we generally haven't wanted to talk about unless we have some terrible ailment in our lives, and then we complain. But it's not something we talk about in terms of trying to figure out how to wade our through or navigate our way through. And so these conversations are so helpful because they're new and they're different. And I think they refresh us and prepare us for something that, as you said when you started, Rabbi, it's a process we're not in control of. And of course, we love to be in control. And control is a tremendous illusion. We never really are in control. And so it's a recognition through these conversations that this is process, part of life, and we have to get ready for it. We have to get used to it. We have to plan for it. And we have to build relationships around it, because I think that's the way you navigate aging, whether it's relationship with family or with loved ones or with friends or even with strangers. That will bring us to a better place as we age.
May I add to it one sentence in this theme, is that even finding yourself is a gift in aging. And with this, the virus has brought a message of universality and its diversity. And to me, people call me to offer help, etc. And then when they say, "Are you alone?" And that brought me to a point which I will brief it, that me, I, and myself. I say, I'm not alone. What do you mean? I say, I'm beginning to, do I have to identify who they are? I'm telling you, me, I, and myself. So I take one as my conscious, the other as my guide. Take it from there.
Okay. Edward, Shakila mentioned the notion of gratitude, and I immediately referred in my own heart to your comment about your wife having to deal with and you having to come to terms with Alzheimer's and loss. How do you put those two things side by side? That there's still gratitude and there is still loss, or is one just dominant and there's no way to navigate through? You're muted at the moment if you want to try to respond to an impossible question.
With gratitude, well, ain't no way to put it. I put it this way, in a way I was angry about a lot of things. But I said all was over in a way I was happy, because she didn't have to go through all that pain no more. But I just didn't understand at first about old timers, and I didn't understand what she was going through. And in a way, I still don't understand too much of it, but.
Is that a way to say there were a bunch of bumps until one found out what was happening?
Well, when I found out what she had and stuff, I didn't pay it much attention than I supposed to, until it started happening. Okay. When I started noticing it, because I wasn't up on old timers then. You know, I just heard about it, and then I started learning a little bit more about it. But I always thought a person should be over older person.
Well,
My wife died at 60.
that is, from our perspective, young.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So are there places where there's still gratitude for you?
Yeah, yes, it is, because I see a lot of things that people studying more about it to help other people.
No, I'm not talking about a disease now. I'm talking about your connection of heart.
Or
What
heart. Well, I said I was angry and I was kind of glad that she ain't got to suffer no more. But in a way, I'm still angry because she's not here with me.
Okay. Shakila, I know you had a wonderful life partner, and he's gone now. What are the places that give you a place to be okay with the fact that you survive and he is gone?
I think that was a blessed journey, and to conserve my words, I would say we learned together all along. And his one sentence I'd like to quote. First, I didn't understand because he was a dean, business school, etc. And I thought his area of interest was quality. So I lived under that concept for a few years till I discovered what he was saying was life is a journey of perpetual quality improvement. So he was giving me time to grow up, I guess, in that sense. So now it makes more sense as I grow older of what that is. And that has sustained me. And even discovering me, I and myself, I saw him in practice doing those things because he never had things to say randomly and so on. So it looked like he was so composed and so low key and never looking for himself. So that I'm saying it. And I also learned about the human machine from him. I'm a physician. My father was getting old and we took care of our parents, and he was there and I was not able to communicate with him whatever his discomfort was at that time. So I asked here, and he goes there and he sits down and he says, Dad, we are human machines. You know, when I was young, I had to take my bike for a fix. So I felt, oh my God, everything goes downhill and needs fixing. So the human machine, I learned from him. And then as a physician, without going into too many details, I learned that just giving somebody's headache a pill is not going to cure them. And a lot of people ask me, how come I retired from medicine and I'm doing random things? To them, this is random what I do. You know? So I said, I'm always interested in healing, and it's 5 body systems that maintain God's created human machine into a state of health or well-being that is called homeostasis. And that is, the 5 systems are cardiorespiratory, genitourinary.
I don't want us to get a graduate degree here.
Okay. And then I'm saying that the healing is on the levels of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So what I'm saying is that as aging goes on, these become magnified in different areas at different times in different circumstances. So we need to pay attention to that.
Michael, what keeps you, besides the wonderful ingrowing family, what keeps your fire going with the aging process, through the aging process? What are the resources you call upon for your self-growth?
Well, I think staying active in your field, finding those things which you had done when you were younger that you still can do and that you can do efficiently and effectively, keeps you growing as a person, and challenging. I think that that was part of the video. How do we challenge ourselves as we grow older? What are the little things we can do intellectually? Today, I took on a new project in an area that I only knew in passing. And the resources are around us to learn and to be exploring all the time. So that lights the fire, keeps the energy going, and makes one curious about new things and different things. The other thing is, again, experiencing other people and being open to who they are. In my law practice, it's being open to all kinds of different clients, being able to listen to what their problems are, what their issues are, and seeing if you can take them a little bit of a step forward to solving those problems. But it's engaging yourself with new and different things as often as you can.
Edward, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you I suspect a close to impossible question. What do you like about getting older?
Can I go?
Don't worry, you guys are next.
What I like about getting older,
Okay, sorry.
I like it, to tell you the truth. I learn more. There's one thing I don't like. I remember when I was younger, I used to say yes sir, no sir. Now they're saying yes sir, no sir to me, sir to me. You know, so that part I don't like. I like about it, I got grandkids, great grandkids. I get a chance to see that. I got a chance to see my daughters grow up. I got a chance to see my grandbabies grow up. And I've got a chance to see my great grandbabies. So yeah, I like it.
Okay. Tequila, you wanted to jump right in on the question, so go ahead.
I have been trying to discover the basics of life, the meaning of us being created as humans, etc. So to come to the point, sound, rhythm, and movement are the basics that define us. There is nothing that has been created by God, whether any kind of creatures or systems, they all have that. And that reminds me to share with you something that I wrote. Lessons in faith and fortitude are our prayers and gratitude. I have discovered and reaffirmed sound, rhythm, and movement are the basics that define us, serve as means of communication with God and with one another. Indeed, we are one and the same. So much more there is that unites us. So little there is that divides us. With experiential learning about one another, we are strong in faith and with one another. Good health and being well together, aging has strengthened my conviction. Yes, we are a human family. Our healing is not just physical, but intertwined with healing on mental, emotional, and spiritual fronts. That's what gives me peace.
Michael?
Well, I'll try and pick up on Shaquila's and both Ed's comments. I mean, certainly there is great joy in aging when you can let yourself see the world through others' eyes. And to do that with family and grandchildren, of course, is just invigorating and joy, just plain joyous to see how they discover the world and enjoy the world, adapt to the world, grow to the world in a way that I haven't thought about or experienced on my own for a long time. So that is a tremendous joy about aging. And then, of course, experience is comforting. And as we see ourselves in difficult times, in difficult political times or difficult social times, it's very helpful to be able to express to yourself and to others, we've lived through things like this before. We've experienced things like this before. And as one appreciates aging, we know we will come out the other side together okay. And that is something that aging really supplies that I'm sure, for example, young people right now are quite concerned about. Is this topsy-turvy world that's upside down right now in so many different ways? Mm-hmm. How are we going to get through this? Well, we've had threads of that before, which I know we will get through.
So the three of you have some resources to call upon to continue to embrace the journey. There may be at some point, perhaps on this virtual experience or later and whatever may become of this experience, folks who won't have the same kinds of extrinsic resources to rely on, that they are the last survivors, perhaps. Anything that you might offer that could embrace them, that would be helpful to those who are challenged with aloneness, with being by themselves. And I'm not prepared to call on any one of you to be first. If any one of you wants to come, I'll answer I'll respond. I won't answer. I'll respond to my own query because I think it's a tough one, you know, because we've known in the real world people who are alone. And if there's anything I would implore, it's for such folks to know that we don't know that you're alone unless you tell us you're alone. We're not able to reach out to you if we don't know you need to be reached out to. And there's somehow, if I could do anything, it would be to get someone who is in that solipsism, that wrapped up in self, to say, tell us. There are those who would respond to you, those who would connect with you, those who would find ways to work with you. You know, I'm reminded of a story of a suggestion that says 10 ways to cure the blues. Do something for someone else and repeat that 9 more times. That's easier to say when you're not stuck there, but if I can do anything, it would be get unstuck. Any other thoughts that come up for that suggestion?
I do.
Yeah.
Listening to Edward and finding out that what he experienced with his wife in the name of getting old at age 60, and we are sitting here, at least I am, saying that is so much younger. Mm-hmm. That shouldn't have happened. So as the center looks into doing these things with all of us together, is to find out what will be useful for them and what kind of videos or other messages have to be created thoughtfully, because to make somebody feel comfortable and love to be part of it and doing it is one thing. Let love being getting older. If they have more physical problems, are they going to enjoy being older? So all these kind of resources have to be built in. And I would very much like to help in any way I can, because I'm blessed to have.
This initiative, including the resources on the website and the programs that it offers, and including the opportunity for people to record themselves for posterity, is a part of the journey that might make that more likely to occur. Edward, any thoughts on that? Awkward?
Being lonely?
Yeah.
I'm not lonely. I have God with me. I have Jesus with me.
How you would advise someone, I mean, what you described in terms of family, I don't know how you have time to be by yourself at all, but
I have family. I have, you know, family what counts. Family what makes everything work. When I see my great grandkid, it puts a big smile on my face.
Yeah. But what I'm referring to are people who don't have that opportunity in their lives. That they are alone, and I suspect we can create virtual families, and I don't mean virtual in terms of computers. I mean virtual in terms of connections. But you can't do it unless we know that that person is there and needs and wants and is willing to receive and respond. Anyway.
Well, you know, we have. I see it like this. We got some good people out here that go visit older people and sits with them. And these are younger people that helps out. You got a crew out here that does things like that. You don't know because a lot of them people they won't let you know. And a lot of them don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of them they're scared.
Yeah.
And you can't push nothing up on them.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that's interesting, I don't want to be bothered, is my suspicion is that the ambivalence that's the heart of many of us is I don't want to be bothered, please bother me.
Yeah, that's true. You know, it's I don't see people that some people actually don't want to be bothered where they don't put guns out. Older people.
Mm-hmm.
That scares people away.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of people out there need somebody, but they don't think there's nobody out there for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's something they need to work on about a lot of these older people out here that don't have nobody, that's lonely, and all they think is, I'm just gonna sit here and die. Mm-hmm. You know, and some got family out there, family won't even go see them. And that's bad because I have seen some people I know and family just don't come visit them or nothing. Mm-hmm. You know, and I wonder, like, why would your kids not come see you? They'll call. Sisters, everybody's so busy, they ain't got time for that person.
So I'm going to share a small true story, and then I'd love for each of you a final reflection or two, whether it's about the video or about the whole challenge of aging. And then we'll turn to the possibility of the folks on the call with questions, comments, commentaries, alternative speeches, as I like to say. True story. Some years ago, at a cemetery of a gentleman who had died in his early 90s. And two of the people who knew him, the days when you could have a number of people gather at a cemetery, one said to the other, I overheard him saying, you know, while I'm here, it hardly pays to go home. And the other person responded immediately, nonsense. You're going to come with me. We're going to go to the nursing home and we're going to visit some old people. That kind of initiative that I think can make a difference in the quality of our lives for whatever amount of time is our portion. Michael, any final reflection or two for the moment, and then we'll have the chat piece?
Sure. I thought the comment you just made in the story was very instructive. I think we have to start with ourselves. I think to reach out to others, first we have to go internally and say, this is a necessary thing. This is wonderful for the folks who need us, and it's even more important for ourselves in this process of aging. We have to do it together. We have to do it as a community. And that's why this is a joyous presentation at Schaalman Senior Voices, because this is a real opportunity for all of us to engage that.
Shaquila, a final reflection or two?
Yes, I think it is an unbelievably blessed opportunity. And anything we can do to give it some thought, we have to get comfortable with ourselves. Aging. Have faith. Never dismiss any project. You're too old to do that. Or out of cultural, what should I say, respect, quote unquote. Please sit down, Grandma. I'll get you your coffee. But Grandma can make the coffee. I'll never forget when I went to interview Rabbi Schaalman, and his wife has the table set up while we are introducing him, when we are filming him, and beautiful teacups on the table. And she said, oh, I put your cake out. So I didn't even remember at that moment that I had made a cake to take it to the house. So it is those kind of things, interaction with the young, inviting students, sharing projects with them, etc., is extremely, extremely good. And these can be done, like you were mentioning about the virtual coming together of sorts. Of course, it has to be customized to those who are doing and where the project is going, inviting them to join in all the work that is being in the center, which is already being done. So I'm just emphasizing it.
Edward, any final piece of wisdom that you might want the folks on the call to hear?
It's something I have to say it, but it's about it's in my building it's mixed, and it's an older lady lived down the hall, right? But her sons come through here, so we thought maybe her son come through here and help her out, stay with her. But every time we look around, when it comes to her getting her check, majority of her money is gone. Every time we look around, her house looking filthy. She comes down here, she would need to sit down, she wants to talk to me, but she don't want to do nothing about her son because she loves him so much. That's her son, her only son.
Mm-hmm.
So there ain't nothing we can do, but I'm at 10 patrol and she keeps my telephone number for emergency. And one day he stole her phone and he accidentally called my number, asking me, do I got any dope? So I let him know, you know this Mr. Mario you're talking to, right? He hung up real quick. So I went and told my manager about it. So we decided it was time to put him out of here, bar him out this building. Mm-hmm. But that didn't do no good because she wasn't really lonely. People around here were trying to help her or be around her, but she was sneaking down to let her son in, and we had to stop that. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is this: a lot of people don't have to be lonely out here, but some people have people that they love so much that uses them and takes from them. Yeah. Then later on, they don't want to be bothered with nobody. Yeah.
One hopes that this initiative helps people recognize healthy relationships and how to build on them. And thank you all already for your various ways in which you've helped us grow in becoming more of the persons we hope to be. Leah, do we have it? This is an opportunity for, there is a comment or a question in YouTube, or is Grizel trying to remind me to remind people of that? Grizel?
We do have a couple comments on YouTube. I saw that she had made a comment over there. So let's see. First of all, folks really did love the video. I know we had a couple buffering moments, but we've shared the link to the full collection of videos in the chat.
And I do want to add, Leah, that I'm happy to autograph copies.
Yes, we'll send you Post-it notes to send back with your autograph. So Alex, who often joins us from down in Miami, made a few comments that aging is a state of mind, how good it is to remember that we are never truly alone, and that aging is a gift. We are thankful every day that we wake up and we are alive. Mm-hmm. From Sandy, who's a longtime member of Emanuel, she said, as I age, I'm more aware of each day being important. Do things that I enjoy, do good for others, value friends, and value my religion. And from Grizel, so this is the comment that I saw on YouTube, that it's such an important message that if someone is feeling lonely, they could use the awareness to do something about it. I wonder if someone has ideas on how to express those feelings to other. And I'll say that is something that I also caught up on. The Rabbi Zedek, when you said, I don't want to be bothered, please bother me, mm-hmm. Is really sticks in my head as something that we're challenged to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those are the comments that we have right now.
Okay. Any panelists, any thoughts building on what you just heard in terms of feedback? Anything you want to offer?
Yeah, Rabbi, this is Erin Emery Tiburcio. Yeah. I'm struck by the comment that that you had made about that ambivalence, about feeling lonely sometimes and not necessarily reaching out, and that Grizel's question about how do we reach out. And there are so many opportunities to do that now, particularly during COVID, in modalities like this, where we have the opportunity to reach out via Zoom and via phone and via technology that we maybe didn't have as much access to before. And those of you who are in the Chicago area, and actually now at this point, even far beyond the Chicago area, Rush Generations has some amazing programs that are available for free that can connect you to programs. So if you're feeling alone and you want to talk to another individual, or if you want to join a program or you want to take a class, there are so many great opportunities to do that. And to be a part of Schaalman Senior Voices as well. So wanted to put those out there. Robin, you wanted to comment?
Yeah, thank you, Erin. Robin Golden from Rush and Emanuel. And just also want to mention that I know the synagogue is very committed as well to reaching out to people who are isolated through their Chesed committee. So a plug for the synagogue, and I'm sure other faith-based institutions as well. But thank you for that.
You know, thank you, as both of you, but there's a piece of me that is tied up in a knot about how one gets someone who so needs that nourishment of connection and is so unwilling to let someone know they need it. You can't fix everything, but it sure would be exquisite if we could find some ways to further move that ball further down the line, especially since there's no Big Ten football this year. So maybe that's the way we can score a touchdown or two. Shaquila or Michael or Edward, anything on that thought?
Well, I think we are blessed. Every challenge brings a blessing. And this being in quarantine has enabled us. I'm sitting on the Zoom here, so I'm enjoying every bit of it. And this kind of technology can be introduced in the senior homes or something, and they have more access to the videos produced by this program, and that might create ideas. We don't need to spend time on that here. And there are so many creative things that can be done with the seniors as they come in the group meeting room, so-called, for a break.
Oh, that's perfect. Like I said, she's right about that, because I didn't use a computer and stuff until I started going to some of them programs at Rush. And I started learning more and more. But I found out, since I learned so more now, I let some of my neighbors that don't get out too much, I be showing them how to get into Zoom to talk to their family, or talk to somebody that they know. They'll call one of the young people up to help them out a little bit. I just show them, tell them, and I don't know everything about it, but I'm learning to do it myself. Then I got a good teacher here that helps me out when she comes through and helps me out every day. But now I can turn this thing on. I can pull y'all up myself. That's something I didn't know how to do a few months ago. But these programs helps me. And I'm in mute, ain't I?
Rabbi's on mute. You're talking just fine, Edward.
Oh, okay.
Son of a gun. Edward, I was suggesting that you're putting a lot of smiles. Thank you, Erin. You're putting a lot of smiles on the Rush folks with all those good words, and the commercial interruption for which you're not compensated, because it is a wonderful resource and an amazing program. Thank God it's available, and God willing, it will grow ever more so in terms of its reach and capacity. Michael, a final thought or two?
Well, I was inspired by Ed. Again, I think we each need to, in our own way, look around the world, engage the world, and find people who need us and who we can react to and reach out to. I think Ed's completely right, and I'm going to make a real effort to find people who need this and who are alone. And I think each of us can do better at that.
Rabbi Robin, I just wanted to say that part of what will allow people to talk about this more is normalizing it like we've done today. So kinds of sessions that make it more okay and less of a stigma to say, I feel alone. or I feel isolated.
Good. We're going to switch in a moment. I'm going to ask everybody to put themselves on mute in a second, except for Jasmine, who's going to take us to the next step of this process and the opportunity. Please listen closely and please make yourselves fairly familiar with this, because you can let others know about this resource as well. I'm ever so slightly saddened that we had to do it virtually, because I have no doubt that had we had this at the synagogue as it was originally planned before the pandemic intervened, there'd be lots more folks, because not everybody, Edward, alas, as you know, has the willingness to take the step or the access to the machinery necessary to do virtual connections. So thank you all. I'm grateful for the chance to be part of this as well. And Jasmine.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Zedek, and to everyone on the panel, and especially to everyone who joined today, whether you joined over the phone or you found your way to the YouTube Live. We really appreciate you taking the effort to come here. So usually when these events are in person, we have a kiosk, which I'm going to show you a picture of now. So it looks a little bit like this. And so at the end of the event, we'll have this kiosk set up and invite anyone to come over and record a short video sharing a little bit more about their perspectives on the themes that were discussed. And so this is all about what we've been talking about today, what matters to us, what we enjoy about aging, what are the challenges of aging, and really diving into meaning through the aging experience. And so while we are moving virtually today, there's still an opportunity to capture your voices and learn about your perspectives online. And so for the last half hour of this event, we're offering this opportunity to really do that. So we're going to start off with just some instructions on how to record a video. So first, you're going to go to aging.rush.edu/Schaalman. And then this is going to take you to the main Schaalman Senior Voices page. And so just like Aaron showed earlier in the event, we have this great picture, some more information on the program. We have a ton of great videos. This is where you could watch the video that was buffering a little bit. You can watch the clip we showed today as well as the full 38-minute video. So this is a great resource, especially now that everyone is staying home. To learn a little bit more, not just about the program, but also about different perspectives as well. And here is also the tab that Dr. Erin Emery Tiburcio had showed earlier.
Jasmine, I'm going to interrupt you for a moment. We still see your PowerPoints and we'd love to see the website.
Oh, gosh.
It happens to me on a daily basis. So we thought we'd just let you know. Call an audible.
Thank you.
Of course. And I will put the link into the YouTube chat.
Perfect. Okay, so let's do this again. So you start by typing in aging.rush.edu/Schaalman. And then once you're there, you're going to see this page. And again, this is where we have more information on the program. And as you scroll down, you can see some of the videos that we have. We have more information on Rabbi Schaalman and who he was and why he is so integral to this project, but as well as other commentaries and other videos about different perspectives. And here, if you click this button over here, you'll be able to see some of the videos that we collected in the community. So these are videos that people had done at the kiosk, sharing a quick, in about a minute or so, what's important to them. So we've heard a wide variety, whether it's being independent or staying connected, getting healthier, having better communication with their family. And then this then in turn teaches us. So similar to what was said in the video, this is not about, professionals telling people what to do, but rather learning from the expertise of others. And so this is exactly what we're trying to do here. So once you type in aging.rush.edu/Schaalman and you're on the page, you scroll down to the bottom and it'll say collaborate and connect. So once you're in that collaborate and connect section, click get involved. and it's going to take you to this page. Now here what we've done is we have the opportunity to actually record your video online from home. In some ways, this might be even better because you can record when you're ready, you can write things down, and whenever you feel comfortable, you have the opportunity to record. And so we have a few questions here that are really just there to help kind of get your thoughts flowing and to just start talking. But you don't need to answer these questions if there's something else that you wanted to share. And so the questions that we have here are what matters most to you as you age? The other is what are you doing to stay connected to what matters most to you during this time? And so once you get to this part on the website, you click start. And then it's going to give you the option to either record from the device that you're on. So if you're on your phone, a tablet, computer, whatever it is, you can click record from your device. Or if you recorded a video already that's about a minute or under, you can even just upload it by clicking this button. But I'm going to show you what it's going to look like if you choose to record from your device. So you click that button, and then it's going to have a short tutorial. And oh, it looks like I can't do that while I'm sharing, but it's going to have a short tutorial where it's going to show you where to put your face. It's going to have a countdown clock over here. It's going to let you know what the sound is like, and you can click record. And so it'll walk you through the process. You just simply click record and then click stop and then upload, and that's it. And that's all you have to do. So you don't need to input any additional information. That's all that's needed. And so at this time, we're going to offer this space to explore the website. And let me see if I can share this a little better. There we go. So you can go to the website, which is aging.rush.edu/Schaalman. First and foremost, explore it and really get to know the program. And as well as maybe watching some of the other videos that are on there, whether it's what we showed today or the videos of others in the community. And so while you're on there as well, if you want to record a video right now or even later on and you have any questions, you're welcome to call me as well. I'm Jasmine Chandy. I'm the program coordinator for this program, and my number is 312-942-6995. And so this is what's going to conclude the program for today. Again, we are reserving this space to give you the opportunity to record a video so we can learn from you. So if you have any questions on that process, please do give me a call right now or later on. And thank you again for coming, everyone.
Jasmine, I just want to make sure, are we ready for